Welcome, my friends of the interwebs. Yes, I know it's been a very long time since you have seen me sitting at this preacher bench. For those of you who do not know what I was just talking about, I don't say. Other people can let you know in the comment section what that's all about. I told all of you that I would get back with you and talk a little bit more about the Google Plus thing. And I kind of deemed that important enough to blow the dust off the, this thing is dusty, blow the dust off the preacher bench. Listen, I know a lot of you guys are freaked out. I know that, and I don't blame you. I totally get it. A lot of you have spent money on things like camcorders, money on things like cameras, lights, mics, all kinds of stuff that made your life a little bit easier as far as the production, or not even made your life a little bit easier, but made the quality of your videos a little better. And it kind of sucks when you get the rug pulled up from under you, when you've made that capital investment based on a promise by Google. I mean, Google literally did promise you that if you were to produce this content, that they would have your back, that they would be your partner. I mean, the old saying, with partners like that. Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said it's like your partner burning your house down. But it is what it is. Listen, a lot of you have asked me for some guidance on this. I have to tell you right out of the gate that I don't know really anything more than you do. I have a different perspective of things only because I've been in this realm. I've been in this game, this YouTube game, for a very long time. You can get a lot of the same perspectives from people like Yankee Marshall. I just watched one of his videos on this, and I agreed with. Yankee's a smart guy. I agree with a lot of the things he says, just not politically. Let's not get confused about that. But he's a smart guy, and he's been around just as long as I have, if not longer. And yeah, I mean, the money's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Well, here's the thing. Some people have said to me that they've seen signs of it maybe turning around. Maybe this whole integration thing was just a big speed bump on the money situation. By the way, I have talked to people. In fact, I know people, well, one person, who actually is doing well and doing better. In fact, having a better month than ever financially. Although, interestingly enough, he's not in the gun, knife, or gear community. he does cars. So I don't know, because I think some people like Yankee Marshall and lots of other people are somewhat convinced that the gun channels or the gun, gear, knife channels, that whole community that we've kind of interwoven with one another, a lot of the people are convinced that community is being ostracized by Google. And what I mean by that is, if you have gun videos or knife videos or gear video type things, you're not going to get the premium ads, you're not going to get the pre-rolls, you're not going to get the things that pay better, regardless of how many views you get. And I have a little theory on that, and I don't know, it's a theory, theories are like anything in life, but I think it would have been very difficult for Google just to knee-jerk and just pull all the ads off the firearms videos. Although I talked to Van from Guns and Gear, awesome dude, sub to him if you're not already subbed to him. And he said I think it was after Sandy Hook, that's exactly what they did for like 3 days with his video. So maybe they got a lot of flack from that, didn't want to go down that road again. I think there's a good possibility that this is a way to eliminate a lot of the gun, knife, and gear channels without making a big fuss. Basically squeeze the money out of it. A lot of people don't realize that for a lot of channels, it takes money to produce their content. Okay, real money. Now, some channels, like say, for example, you may have a knife maker, and it does cost that knife maker to produce the videos, but they're producing a product in the same space that they then can sell and make money. But if you're blowing something up with tannerite, or you're shooting targets, or you're doing run and gun stuff, testing that type of gear out and whatnot, it's going to cost you money. You're not going to recoup any money from that. So I do know that there are some knife makers that are actually happy about this scenario, or at least so I've been told, because they feel like a lot of the crowd will disperse, or there will be a lot less videos to compete with their videos, because they don't necessarily need that AdSense revenue to do what they do. which is a kind of a selfish douchebag way to look at things, but you know, there's no shortage of selfish douchebags on YouTube. You know, it is what it is. But having said all that, where do we go from here? What are you going to do? Okay, listen. I can just tell you what I think. You do what you think you need to do. But I will tell you this right now, and I told you this early. I told you this a long time ago, actually, if you think about it. In YouTube time, you need to get your Google Plus house in order. You can cry about it. You can sign petitions. You can do all this stupid, all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to keep moving forward, if you want to at least have a fighting chance at surviving this, you know, integration. I'm sorry, but my lights are about to go out on me. You have to do this. You have to embrace Google Plus. Listen, I'm hoping that they work the bugs out. I'm hoping that's what happens. And I'm hoping that in the end, things will work better. I know people who have been around a long time, and they actually have pointed out to me that there are some things that are pretty impressive about the new layout. Impressive in the sense that you're going to be able to communicate with your followers, your likers, your fans, your whatever, supporters, a whole lot easier in the end. It's going to be hard. It's kind of like a birth. You know, there's a lot of pain involved, lots of blood, nastiness, but at some point, things work out, or hopefully they work out. So, you know, you really just have to go ahead and embrace it. Just, it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. There's a million different things I could say, but for the most part, just lay back and enjoy it. It's gonna happen anyway. But listen, get your Google Plus page set up. Start a little group. I seen Fred Hart just did one, and I was like, yeah, I don't have one yet. I don't think I do. If I did, it was just screwing around. I know Krista does. I think it's called the Krista Blade Gun and Knife Club, or it might be Knife and Gun Club. I don't know, either one. You can ask her about it. But start one of these little groups. It's a way for us to promote each other's videos to a like-minded audience, and just, you know, go with it. Communicate. Start using this and hope for the best. Literally, just hope for the best. So, I mean, you know, I know a lot of people are frustrated. I know a lot of people are pissed off. But it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. I think it was Cutlery Lover that said, you know, look, you know, just... He's watched these changes before. Now, I will say this one thing to Cutlery Lover, to Colonel Smith. The truth is that this is the first time that Google's made a huge change and it affected people financially. You know, because I do know people, sadly, that counted on their AdSense money to help pay the rent. And if you're one of those people, you're probably hurting right now, and that sucks. And that sucks because you were made a promise. And Google doesn't look to be making anybody whole on this, that's for sure. And by the way, just so you know, I'm going to go ahead and kind of pull back the curtain on the wizard, Papa Google. Papa Google's back behind the curtain, you know, pulling the strings. This game is rigged. Listen, you've heard it, it's rigged. I didn't come up with this theory. A man named Renetta did. And I know a lot of you don't know who Renetta is. Sadly, you don't know who he is, but he was a very important figure. At one time, he was one of the most subscribed to people on YouTube. Now he's, God only knows, he's probably living under a bridge somewhere. Paul Robinette, if you're watching this, which I highly doubt you are, come out from under the bridge and start making some videos. You know, it is rigged. It's set up from the very beginning. It always has been. Well, it always has been since Google, which is a control freak, bought the whole setup. That's the thing. Let me explain something. Renetta put it best years ago. He said Google tells you, or YouTube tells you, that if you play the game and you subscribe to people and you communicate and you do all this community thing, that you can rise to the top. Very, very, very few people ever get anywhere like that. They may get to lower level success, 100,000, 200,000, under 1 million subscribers. But the ones that you see that have millions of subscribers, they did not get there because they're awesome. They got there because Google cherry-picked them and put them up on a pedestal. Proof positive about this, by the way. You know, Google will never admit to this, okay? Big shock. If you remember when that moment, now a lot of people were shell-shocked, so maybe you weren't paying attention, but that moment where you actually signed up for Google Plus, do you remember that? And do you remember when they said, and I'm going to paraphrase here, okay, which I do most of the time anyway, we don't want you to be lonely. So we're going to suggest some friends for you and for your circles. And if I remember right, and I may be wrong about this, but I think they already had these friends checked, and you had to opt out of them, or you had to uncheck them, or they would automatically be put in your circles. I'm pretty sure that's the way it was, but it may not have been. It may have been that they suggested these and you could put a check mark next to them. I don't really remember. Krista brought this to my attention today, in fact, because she's absolutely right about this. What an advantage, because if you look at the people that they didn't want you to be lonely, they wanted you to already have in your circles were, Justine, Ray William Johnson, Philip DeFranco, Nigga Higa, all these people that are YouTube stars. So immediately, most people by default is going to be like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess I need some people in my circles. When you look at somebody like Philip DeFranco, and I'm just using him as an example, or Justine's a good example too. Justine, I think she's got like a gazillion channels, but her main channel's got like 1.7 million subscribers. Well, that's so hard when people sign up for YouTube and they're automatically, they subscribe to her automatically. YouTube does that. And with GooglePlus, apparently now, she's going to have a whole lot of people that have her in their circles. And I'm not bagging on Justine. God bless her. God bless her. More power to her. If she's got it like that, I'm not a hater. I'm not a player hater. I don't hate the player. I hate the game. It's that simple. So so Justine automatically has shit tons of people in her circles, because you can't very well have a YouTube star start with the rest of us now, with the peasants. You can't do that. Philip DeFranco can't have nobody in circles. Come on. That's the way this game is rigged. It literally is. That's the way this game is rigged. If they want you to be a big YouTuber, or now big on Google Plus, whatever. And you know what? I think Yankee Marshall is absolutely spot on when he says the subscriber base is no longer going to matter. It's going to be circles. And remember that too, because you need to start working on getting people in your circle and people getting you in their circles. You need to do that. But it's a whole lot easier if you have Google doing it for you. It is what it is. So if Google likes you, for whatever reason, one of their marketing people spots you and says, hey, I think this person's got some talent, or whatever their criteria is. I don't know. I'm sure it has a lot to do with number crunching. They need a certain amount of this type of person, a certain amount of that type of person. I don't think they include anybody in the firearms community. So when you look at people like Hickok 45, they've done it on their own. Now, I don't for life of me know how, what's his name? The Fugitive. Never mind. So anyway, but I mean, for the most part, I think that's how they do it. They have to fill so many billets or whatever, and whatever. That's a business to them, and that's how they choose to do it. But do not ever get confused that get confused into thinking that these people who are big YouTube stars got there on sheer talent, or whatever, because that's not the way it works. Renetta was right years ago. Because when it was like that, when you could get to somewhere on sheer talent, and of course everything in life has a little element of luck to it. Renetta was famous. He had the first viral video in the history of internet videos, in the history of social media. He got somewhat lucky. He had a video called Diet Coke and Mentos. You can still see it. It was a really good video, and it just happened to catapult him to stardom. But he did that on his own. But in fact, little history lesson here for those of you who aren't as old as me. When YouTube was not owned by Google, if you went to YouTube's offices, the corporate offices, they had a conference room, and it was called the Renetta Room. I think that's important because the Renetta Room became the Renetta Room through the work of Paul Robinette. It didn't happen because YouTube decided to handpick him. That's not the way it worked. Now, once Google became of ownership of YouTube, he did not fit their demographic. He's my age, bald. He just didn't fit their demographic. He didn't, and he started seeing his position slide backwards and backwards and backwards. And at some point, the sign on the door of the conference room that said Renetta Room, that was gone. That was gone. And I mean, and I think he got a little butthurt about it because he's one of the founders of social media. I don't blame him for being MIA. I used to have his phone number. I'm gonna see if I still have it. I'm gonna give him a call. I might do it on camera. See what the hell. But anyway, yeah. Getting back off of memory lane here in the history lesson. just get your house in order, get your Google Plus in order, do the best that you can do, and you know what, you can still be successful. I think, I don't know that for a fact, but I think the rules have just changed. And I think, I don't remember who it was that said this, but they said, you know, now you have to work twice as hard for half the money. So if you're not cool with that, you know, you may want to move on. Now, by the way, if you're a gun, knife, gear type person, you may want to experiment with doing other types of videos. Go to a car show. Do guns and gear. Go to a car show. You know, look and see what's trending. What are people doing? You know, I mean, if you're politically minded, maybe start doing more political stuff. I mean, I don't know. But if guns, knife, and gear is getting slammed and not getting the kind of advertising that they used to, that may be something that's an option for you. If now I know you're like, well, I'm a gun guy. What am I going to do? Start chasing trends? If you got rent to pay, you might, you know, you might want to do that. I don't know. I think it's important to experiment. Some people have multiple channels. They have different interests. Like some people might have a gun channel and then a cooking channel, or a gun channel and a car channel, or you know, whatever. I mean, you can still do your gun videos. Clearly, you're just going to have to do some other things. I mean, not speculation on my part. You do what you want to do. You know, you do what you want to do. But my ultimate advice is to get your Google Plus house in order. That's it. Get your Google Plus house in order and hope for the best. You know, that's all you can really do. Listen, try to help one another. I've been a big proponent. If you know anything about me, you know that I've tried to instill that in Krista. Try your best to help everybody worth helping. Now, there's always going to be some douchebags that, you know, just aren't worth helping. But the fact of the matter is, if you can help somebody else, help them. Seriously. If you can help somebody else, help them. I think Glock Brothers just did a video recently about helping people, helping the smaller channels. The big channels helping the medium-sized channels helping the smaller channels. Here's another little tidbit, a little bit of advice. Find people locally that are YouTubers. I know sometimes that's not easy. Find local YouTubers that have a decent sized subscription base and do collaboration videos. For example, if you have a channel that has 1,000 viewers, 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. Are you happy or anyway? 1,000 subscribers. If you find somebody else that has 1,000 subscribers, make videos with them. You're gonna, especially if they have a totally different audience, because then those two audiences come together. You expose yourself to their fan base, they expose themselves to your fan base. It's a win-win. Try to form groups. I think with Glock Brothers call it networking or networks, and I know Tack Daddy, all those guys have been doing this for a while. But I think it's more necessary today than it's ever been. I don't necessarily know that the hangouts are a big deal. To be honest with you, you know, they're tiny little circle jerks as far as I could tell. You know, that's the thing about hangouts. That I don't think they're the marketing thing that people once thought they might be, and maybe they will be eventually. I don't know. But when I see 8 guys sitting around, you know, talking to one another, I don't know, measuring their cocks, you know, I just don't see the advantage to that. But maybe anything you can do, I think, to help each other, then you should. That's all I got for you. Ask questions if you want. Leave me some thoughts in the comment section. Let me know. Share this video. Share this video. And that's what we should also be doing for one another. Sharing other people's videos to things like your Twitter feed, your Facebook feed. And you know, it doesn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt you to say to somebody too, hey, if I start helping you, you help me. I share your videos, you share my videos. You know, Facebook, whatever. That's all I got. Peace!
Guys, you need to get your rusty rags like ASAP, and I know you want some because I just got done cleaning the Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum with it, and look how shiny it looks, and you can actually see the Smith & Wesson before you couldn't even see it. So go to rustyrags.com, put your MBV code in, get your 25% off, and you're golden. Rusty Rags all the way.